today's video, we're going to be going over another website audit for this HVAC company out in San Antonio. So this business owner reached out to me the other day, said, hey, saw a couple of your other videos on the SEO audit for a company for a website. Wonder if you could do the same for me. So I had a little bit of time today, went through his website and just found a bunch of different things. Moral of the story today is you need location, location, location. I see this as a big hit with so many different websites is they think a basic 5 to 10 page website is suffice when realistically that's not going to rank at all. Most likely, as a service-based business, you target multiple different cities or multiple different neighborhoods or suburbs even around your main central city. So you should have a dedicated location page for each one of those different cities. And that's what I sort of show towards the end of the video here. So stick around to see that part. If you're watching this, you have no idea who I am or what we're even doing here. Hi, my name is Adam Allard. I run a web design agency called Airwing Webworks, where I specialize in contractor type of websites. So if you are a home service professional, like an HVAC technician like we're going over today, or a painter, or a home remodeler, roofer, anything else, I create websites for you. I help run the digital marketing side of things in terms of Facebook ads or Google PPC, Google LSA, so on and so forth, all the great stuff. I focus on website performance and website SEO. And my overall goal with my web agency is to help you and your company get more leads, get more clients, make more money. So if that sounds interesting to you, check out my website, airwingwebworks.com. Link to that will be in the description below. And without any further ado, let's get into this HVAC company's website out in San Antonio. All right, so here is the website that we are going to be auditing today. And then right off the bat, just the visual aesthetics of it, it doesn't look bad. You know, it looks like a pretty well-built theme that you are using. One thing I would note right off the bat here is the colors, and this is going to be failing some web accessibility standards. I've talked about this in plenty of other videos before. You know, go to some online color checker, color contrast checker. You know, this one here from WAIM is a very good one. And just see, like, given this background color here and this foreground color here, this like yellowish, orangish type of color, I can almost guarantee that's going to fail. So you're gonna wanna make these a little bit darker, or possibly even just make this header bar here a white background instead of being the transparent background. Obviously, when it's in this view as well, you kind of want it to be able to see the HVAC stuff, so I would probably make these all white then. In that case, make these colors here white during this transparent header, and then when you scroll down and you change the header size and everything else, right? There's different like CSS selectors that you can target for how your nav bar is supposed to look here. When you get down into this view, I would put a white background on this navigation, and then change these colors here to just something that's a little bit better of a contrast there. So it doesn't fail web accessibility standards. But other than that, the visual aesthetics of the website, it looks very clean, looks pretty good. All right, so I'm gonna go to the next thing I typically check, which is going to be the heading structures. Again, I'm not going to drill too deep into this as well because, again, I have plenty of other videos and I don't want them all to be the same thing, but it is a very common theme that a lot of people tend to miss or get flagged on is your heading structures just aren't really that great. And we can see already here, you have 2 H1s, a whole bunch of H2s, but then you have 0 H3s and going to some H4s, H5s, and H6s, right? So the fact that you have 2 H1s alone is a hit. The other one comes down here from our services. So I would make this the H2, and then all of these actual subservices be the H3s, so on and so forth. But in terms of your actual H1 here, this is a neat little trick that I sort of want to talk about here that I've explained in other videos, but I've never really like demonstrated it. So on this website here, I really want to demonstrate what I'm talking about here. And your H1, it's a really great hero section title for a human, right? The reliable AC and heating services that restore your home comfort. That's what someone wants to read when they get on here, and that's amazing, that's great. Definitely don't change that. However, I would not make this as our H1 tag because there's no location relevancy there, right? Google can see that you are an HVAC repair company based on this header title. They can categorize this web page as being something revolving HVAC services, but they don't know where, right? The H1 doesn't have the location relevancy to say where these HVAC services are being performed at. So the neat little trick that I'm referring to is essentially putting a different H1 tag in here that's smaller. Again, people tend to use these heading tags as stylistic tags instead. And the heading tags aren't supposed to be for style, they're supposed to be for semantics. So I would say something instead like HVAC services in San Antonio. I think that's probably how you spell it there. All right, now, from an aesthetics standpoint, a visual standpoint, that looks terrible. I get that. We're not going to leave it like that, right? And then this also needs to change to be an H2. All right, and change that one as an H2 there. Now what we can do is for this specific tag, we can say color, we'll say white, font size, we'll bring it down to, how about 24 pixels. All right, and then margin bottom, I would put, what does 0 pixels look like? Sure, let's do 0 there. It's a little bit thick. Let's go with font weight. Probably go down to 500. There we go. And then let's make that color maybe just a tiny bit darker here. Or, you know, maybe even let's make it this yellow color. How about that? Yeah, I kind of like that there. Okay, cool. So I would have changed it to that instead. Now when Google sees this page here, they're going to categorize this as HVAC services in San Antonio. And we can see through our heading tags, we have one major heading tag here. This whole web page is about HVAC services in San Antonio. You have what you do, the service that you provide, the HVAC services, and where you perform it for the location relevancy in San Antonio. And then everything else under here is now a subsection under this one and only one H1 tag. All right. Other than that, I don't want to stress too much on the heading tags because I have so many other videos about how to properly structure your heading tags, right? So go check out one of those. Let's get more into the actual beef and the meat of what we have here. You have some more location relevancy in other headings. That's great. A bunch of different services with their own links here. That's great. All right, talking about more of what you do. Awesome. Your actual headings in themselves, some of them might have been a little bit, oh, no, they're mostly fine. All right, you have a H2 tag for an option 1 here. Doesn't really make any sense. I would probably make this just a normal paragraph and style it to look like a different heading tag, right? But the actual page content, you got about 700 words on here. It's pretty good. That's not bad. All right, just very quickly looking at some of the other things that most other websites get hits on. Your alt tags for images. You want to make sure this gets down to 0, right? You want every single image to have an alt tag because everyone that misses it is, again, another web accessibility hit. Excuse me. You have multiple links for the same thing, which isn't a huge hit, but, you know, you kind of tend to want to keep one link per page here, but again, that's not a huge deal. There's that option 1 we were talking about, and then again, color contrast here is a little bit hard here as well. I would probably maybe put like a black opacity on this back section here. So I'll say like background. And then how about like a 5.5, something like that, right? So that way you're not taking away from your color too much because it still looks a little bit more like your theme colors, but it's just a little bit easier to read these actual words over here now. So one thing I did notice was that you have these links down here which don't go to anything. So I don't really know what they're doing there. And then, oh, this one does do, okay. I think you had some other links that would... Yeah, this one here, for instance. So notice how there's a different behavior in these links here, right? With this one, we open up a brand new tab to go to your Facebook page, but with this one, we change it on the same tab. And I would definitely recommend making this one to also go to a different tab. And the way you do that is there's going to be a target equals blank. We can see right here, target equals _ blank, right? But on this link, we do not have that, which is why it changes your actual browser, your window, to go to that link instead. Because you don't want to drive people away from your website, right? The whole purpose of your website is to convert people, have them fill out the web form, have them call you, whatever else. You don't want to bring them to a different website where that's, Google is tracking that type of stuff, like the bounce rates and everything else, how long they stayed on your website before they went to a different website. So you always want to try and keep people on your website. Plus, your website's going to be easier to convert them than they go on Facebook and then they see a notification and start browsing, completely forget about you, and so on and so forth, right? So try and not bring people away from your website and try and keep them on your website as much as possible. All right, so that looks fine there. In the services page, right here's a big missed opportunity. It just says services. Again, I would say HVAC services in San Antonio. Same thing with the title tag here. It just says services. You have no description here. So again, now description doesn't really help in SEO per se, but it is on the search result page. It is going to have, that's going to be like the little paragraph of what people see to help them want to click on this website, right? And if it's just blank, they're going to try and start pulling it from whatever the content is on the page, which the content on this page is very limited anyway. So again, just you want to have control over this and put a decent description of what you offer, where you offer it, why people should call you, so on and so forth. So I would change that. For each one of these, I would put each one of these subservices here, I would put a quick little paragraph description of what each one is, all right, of why, you just, again, help with the content, help with make the page a little bit beefier and rank better and everything else. Explain what HVAC repair is, where you do it, why you do better than everyone else, all the same old stuff that we talk about. Under contact us page, this one I was a little bit confused of. We have conflicting phone numbers here, and Google definitely keeps track of this type of stuff, right? They want to see consistency in what's called the NAP, the name, address, and phone number. And the fact that, I don't know if this is a typo here, or if you do have two different but very similar phone numbers, but you have this one that ends in 4204, this one ends in 4204, but everywhere else ends in 4205. I see you are using WordPress. So for the WordPress people out there, you can install a plugin called AFC, I think it is, or ACF or something like that. But ACF, Advanced Custom Fields. And you can create sort of like global variables on your website. So one of them could be phone number. So instead of typing in your phone number everywhere, you could just reference the one variable where you define your phone number in one place, and then all the other pages are going to be pulling from that one place there. So if you ever need to change your phone number, you can just update it in one place and it propagates to all of your other web pages. So that's a little bit safer of a way to do that type of stuff, right? Same thing with your address or like your hours or whatever else. Anything that's going to be repeated in multiple different places, you want one single source of truth, and AFC plugin can absolutely help with that if you're using WordPress. This part in general here is just a little bit confusing as well, where you have, again, like different phone numbers for different things, but they're the same phone number. You have multiple different hours of operation. I'm just a little bit confused by what I'm seeing here. I would probably take out all this ancillary information here, replace it with a paragraph of what expert HVAC service is, your customer service, new equipment install, so on and so forth, right? Like, I wouldn't have multiple different conflicting business information there. If we look at these links, again, these links don't do anything, they don't go anywhere. So I would just remove them or fill them in. You have a web page here, a map on your contact page. Why is this not your Google Business Profile map instead? So what is this? So you have this map right here. This is a great little trick and tip for anyone. On your Google Business Profile, you have your own map, especially for service location businesses. And he's showing this company here services this very big wide range right here. This should be the map that you are bringing on your actual Contact Us page, because then it's also going to show your business information, your ratings. You have 47 reviews and almost a 5-star rating. Great. So again, you want to show that, and you want Google to help better link those two together. So what you can do is on your map page here, click on these three little buttons, the hamburger menu button, go to share or embed map, and then copy this HTML right here. So then replace this map with that actual HTML, make it 100% width and so on and so forth. So it's going to look the exact same because the reason I say that is because they, by default, add in somewhere on here. They added in a width equals, I think like 600 pixels by default or something. Let's see. Here we go. So we see they have a width of 600. So almost always, if you have it in WordPress column or row or whatever else, you can just change it to 100%. So then it'll stylistically look the exact same like it is right here, right? So it's going to take up 100% of the width of the available container. So that is one really big thing I would recommend right there as well. Other than that, the contact us stuff is completely fine. I would put a privacy policy on here if you're using any sort of Google Analytics or anything else. A privacy policy page. Google likes to see that sort of like trust worthiness of companies. Now let's go on to the actual services here, because this is where things start to get a little bit trickier in terms of someone else being able to like actually understand the SEO implications of what you have going on here. All right, so if I look at this different page here, first of all, we'll see that this nav bar is gone. So, which was pretty interesting, right? Your navigation bar is now completely missing. People can't get back home. That's just a bad user experience. All right, so that was for HVAC repair. But for HVAC replacement, you don't have that same thing. So what's going on here, right? And then also the website itself is just a little bit lacking a lot of pages and content. So what I started to do is I wanted to see how much pages you actually have on your website. So I went to your sitemap here, and from your sitemap, we see your page sitemaps, which is basically just like, hey, here's all the rest of my pages on this website. And what I found interesting here was a couple things. Number one, you have this business card page here, which just shows this. Google is reading this. Not really a big deal. But they're also reading this about page, which I found interesting because I didn't see an about page on your nav bar. So when I click on this about page here, look at this. We have the default about page from your theme that you have not deleted or updated for your company yet. So before we even get into that, having an about page is really important for your company. It's really important for your website. Google, again, wants to see this expertise and experience and trust and authoritativeness and everything else. And having a very good, solid about page to explain your company really builds that trust factor in Google's eyes. You should be explaining, about you and your company and your core values and your history and your third favorite dinosaur or whatever else, right? Like, you should really be explaining so much about your company that just helps Google understand that you are a legitimate company and you're not some scam company out there or some lead generating service or anything else, right? Like, they want to see real people. Show a picture of your team, show a picture of you out there working in the field and everything else. So that aside, we can see that, look, we have all this dummy text on here and everything else. So the fact that this page is still active and live and published and on your sitemap is kind of a big red flag to Google that this website just isn't very trustworthy. It's, I was going to say you have a different phone number, but no, that's your actual phone number there because that's in the navbar header. But yeah, so again, I would have removed this page for the time being, and I would highly recommend you actually update this page to be more applicable for your company. That aside, I noticed here there wasn't any actual other pages though for all the different services that we saw. And the reason being is because you made all your different sub-services as posts instead. So when we click on one of these, we'll see it's an actual post. And if I go over here to the schema and I look at the schema markup for your page, we'll see, yeah, sure enough, it's written as an article and not a page. There are subtle differences between like what blog posts and articles are compared to what actual pages are. So for all of your different services, I would highly recommend you make these actual pages and not blog articles, because that's what you have going on here. And then for the other one in particular, we mentioned, yeah, this one, again, I don't know why your nav bar is gone from here. Make sure you put your nav bar back in, right? Excuse me again. So yeah, all of these, and then also the actual structure of them. Again, I would make them pages, but I would also make them children pages of the service page. So I would say services or service or whatever else slash subservice, right? So now you have, it just shows a better hierarchy of how your site is really structured, right? So you have all of your services, air duct cleaning and HVAC repair and HVAC maintenance and whatever other services that you sort of have, right? Indoor air quality. These are all different services under your company. So they should be as children under the services page, especially because your actual services page here, where are we trying to go? Your actual services page links out to each one of these, right? So from the website standpoint, I would say that's about it there. But now one really big thing we are missing here is so much location relevancy and huge opportunities that you are missing. If we go back to So Text Air here, let's look at your service area. All right. You say you're in San Antonio and your website says San Antonio, but how much of San Antonio are you really targeting? If someone doesn't come and look at this actual page here, they're not going to know. And someone over here in McQueenie or in Timberwood Park, the chances of your website ranking or your profile ranking in these areas are so slim because you only talk about San Antonio and not even that much, but your website only references San Antonio and only a little bit. So the chance of you ranking in these other places is like pretty much slim to none. So for instance, what if someone is in Leon Valley? Well, let's look at Leon Valley HVAC. And look at this. We have LeonValleyAirConditioning.com. All right, I don't really care about them. Here we go. What is that? Armamendia, something like that. They have areas we serve, Leon Valley page. All right, JB Heating and Air, Leon Valley, Texas. You know, AC Repairs, Leon Valley. aircare-sa-sanantonio.com, areas we serve, Leon Valley. Look at what all of your competitors are doing. They create separate location pages dedicated to all the different areas that they're going to serve. So when we scroll in here, first and foremost, Google is always going to try and, at least for the map pack, they're always going to try and find places that are as close to the centralized city as possible. So, and where they think the center is where they place the actual marker on the map, where they place the header on the map. So if your location, your actual like business office is close to the center here, you have a much higher chance of ranking for that. And now when we scroll in, we see all these different neighborhoods in here, right? For these like smaller texts. And then we see some bigger text here. So if we scroll out a little bit, the neighborhoods will go away. We scroll a little bit more and right to about here. And this gets like different suburbs of San Antonio now, right? So we see we have Leon Valley, which we just checked. We have Alamo Heights, Windcrest, all these different pages here, all these different cities rather. Because they're all within your service area, you should be having a dedicated page for each one of these different towns, right? Because you're saying you're servicing them, but you don't have any location pages targeting them. So I would have, let's check out one of your competitors again, actually, and just see how they're doing it. Let's check out this place here. Areas we serve in Texas. Oops, that's not what I want to go to. Page not found. All right. Maybe towards the bottom. People usually have this here. Oh, just like a basically areas we serve page. Here we go. Areas we serve. Look at this. Look at all the different cities that they are targeting, right? And so this is another tactic, a tip and trick as well, where on your main homepage, you're going to link to all the different location-based pages that you have. Because one thing you don't want to do is have what's called orphan pages. For instance, your about page, your fake dummy page, right? That's considered an orphan page because it's just a page out in the wild of your website, but no other link from your website is going to that page. So what Google has seen is you just have this rogue orphan page out there that you are not linking to it. So if your website doesn't even find it important, why would Google think it's important? Why would they try and rank that page when your own website doesn't even link to it, right? So anytime you make a web page, you always want to have at least one, preferably multiple, different links going to that web page, right? So this company here does the normal strategy that most other people need to be doing, especially these location service-based type of companies, like an HVAC repair. All right, so they have a big section at the bottom called Areas We Serve, and then they link to all their different location-based pages. And again, you should have a separate page for all these different suburbs of San Antonio, including a San Antonio page. I don't know why they don't seem to have a San Antonio page, but let's check out some other competitors, right? JB Heating and Air Conditioning. Let's see what they are doing. Look at service areas, Alamo Heights, whatever all these different other ones are called, right? So they have one specifically for San Antonio. And then this is just San Antonio air conditioning too, right? So you should have San Antonio air conditioning, San Antonio HVAC repair, San Antonio maintenance, and then have a Windcrest HVAC repair, Windcrest AC repair, so on and so forth. Alamo Heights AC repair, Alamo Heights maintenance, HVAC maintenance, so on and so forth. So for pretty much every single one of your sub-services, you should have a dedicated location page for that. So by the end, your website here, which has realistically like only 3, maybe a couple, I guess plus all these, like 9 pages here total, which is kind of like the average of what a lot of DIYers do, is have their website just a very basic, very generic 5 to 10 page website only. But realistically, a very robust, a very rank-worthy, SEO-worthy website should have like 50 to 100 different pages, because again, you want a very dedicated location page for each one of the services that you offer. All right, so those would be the biggest tips I would give you for your website. I would go, again, just to recap, go through and check all your colors, your web accessibility, contrast colors, and everything else. All right, add an about page or revamp that about page and add in the nav bar header here. Again, talk about your company history, give a photo of your team and everything else. You have a great wrap here on your vehicle. Show a picture of that as well. Show a picture of you and your team standing in front of that work vehicle, right? Again, it just helps Google understand that trust better. Fix your heading structures. Make your H1 tag on your homepage a little bit more location relevant. And then most important thing here is you need to have all these different location-based pages. So somewhere near the bottom, make a repeatable, a pattern that you can reuse in multiple different pages of areas we serve. And then that'll be a huge list of all the different location pages that you have. I would even possibly take it a step further and do one of two things here. Number one, you could have HVAC repair in San Antonio, HVAC repair in, I already forgot, City 2, HVAC repair in City 3, AC repair in City 1, AC repair in City 2, AC repair in City 3. Have each one of these different sub-services for each different page as its own separate page. Or if you want to take it maybe even a little bit more of a lazier route, just have one location page that lists out all the different services that you do. And for each service, it should be a really beefy section, right? So you would have one location page, which has 6 different sections on there, but the sections are very, very content rich and everything else. Like all this, even this alone isn't going to really rank that well, right? I would put a lot more content in here to really just help Google know that you are the expert in this service. All right. When in doubt, again, just look at your competitors, see what they're doing and try and do it better. That's sort of the moral of the story, is get location pages for all your different sub-services, because that's what all your competitors are doing. Look at what they're doing and just do it better. Hope that video has helped. If you have been watching this video and you are not affiliated with this company, but you like what I've done here, you want your own sort of SEO audit, drop a comment down below and let me know. If I have some time, I'll check out your website as well. But thank you, everyone. See you all next time.